Welcome to the latest installment of a series that we like to call That Leslie Sound.
In this series, we're going to attempt to cover every Leslie pedal on the used and the new market. If you want to know more about what pedals are in the series, click on the card above to watch the series opener.
And if you want to know what That Leslie Sound is, click on the card that will take you to a YouTube playlist that you'll hear many famous songs that use that Leslie sound. Welcome to the series. Today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we have the latest installment from our series, That Leslie Sound, and the Beard's going to tell you what's going to be making that Leslie sound tonight.
Yeah, today we're looking at the Roctary by NUX, and this is a relatively inexpensive offering, right? With some really crazy great features. It sounds a little bit something like...
That's a fun pedal.
Yeah, because, I mean, that probably didn't sound anything like, like a Leslie right off the bat. So, what's really cool about this pedal is it comes with some neat extra features, I think. And so, we're going to jump right into that and go through those kind of quickly for you. I'm going to take 1 minute and unplug the expression pedal I had on the floor. We'll come back to that. So, what we have is... in general, a slow knob and a fast knob that will control the speed of the Leslie. You can set the slow speed, you can set the fast speed. And then we had a bass/horn knob. And then a balance knob. And so the balance knob will take you all the way from clean, no effect, and it will bring the effect up in. And the bass and the horn then is the balance between... I shouldn't say balance because that's what the other knob's able. But it's going between how much you're leaning towards the horn, the rotor, or leaning towards the bass cabinet. Interesting, this has a Leslie simulator cabinet built into it. Leslie cabinet simulator built into it. And I'm not really sure how to tell which setting you're on, whether you're using the cabinet or not. So we will come back to that. We'll look at that. So right now, I'm going to flip this switch up here to octave off, and I'm going to take this drive all the way to 0. When you do that, you've taken the octave out of the circuit, you've taken the drive and the level. So you're taking the drive out of the circuit. So right now, we're just going to focus real quick on the Leslie aspect of the pedal. One thing to keep in mind is if you hold down the fast button, and as you hold that down, move the slow button, you're changing the ramp speed. So I think right now... kind of not a super slow,
right,
but not a super fast transition. And so we'll leave it there. So let's take the bass and horn, set that at 50, take the balance, set that at 50. Pat will play the Leslie riff that we're using for everything. And I'll jump back and forth between the fast and slow speed. Mm-hmm. And then move the bass horn and then move the balance so people can get an idea of that. Do you want to do the clean tone first? That's our reference tone.
Yes. Super Roehampton into a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe.
Right. A little bit of reverb on the amp, nothing else.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about the amp simulator. So we'll have it on this setting they just heard. We'll leave it kind of right where it was at. Go back to the fast speed. To turn the amp simulator on, power on the Roctary while holding down the fast switch and turn the Leslie to turn on the Leslie Cap simulator. So I'm assuming that if we flip this off, hold down the fast switch, that we just turned on the Cap simulator or turned it off. So why don't you just play a little bit through that?
I feel like it's more pronounced.
Yeah, let's go back and do it one more time. So you think the other one was a little more...
It was more in your face, I thought. Like, it was more behind that. I like this sound better. I'm not sure which one it is, but I like that.
Okay. So we'll leave it there.
Okay.
But, so you know it's there and it's an option to play with, right? So that brings us, I think, to a whole host of other things. So this actually has a pretty usable drive section to it. Mm-hmm. So once we start bringing up the drive knob, we've now engaged the level knob as well. So you can run the level high with a little bit of drive, or you can push the drive really high and bring the level up. How would you like it?
Let's try there. Was that, yeah.
Why don't you start, and maybe I can move some? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're going to be able to play that same thing.
Right. I can do a...
So without getting into every...
Right.
But you get the idea. You can have like a little bit of a subtle drive behind it, or you can push it pretty hard. And that's really nice. And that thing we did in the beginning, we pushed it a little bit, right? We brought just a little bit of drive up behind it. So that takes us to the next little added goodie here, which would be the octave things, which I think both of us are just kind of like, this is really cool. So right now, if I turn both octaves off, are you getting a signal? So there's two ways to set this up. You can do it where you have the dry signal coming through, or you can take the dry signal out. Let's start. Where do you want to start?
With the dry in, right? Like with the blend.
Okay. So
let's do it the opposite way. Let's bring all of the octaves in and just hear the difference when you bring in the blend of the guitar itself, right?
All right. So are you getting anything now? Okay. So right now, by holding the fast switch, I don't know, we had to do some editing there. So by holding the fast switch and turning octave 1 to 0, octave up 1 to 0, you take the dry signal out. So now if you play... Yeah, I was actually even thinking that Well, I guess you can't take it out totally, but you could almost like if you had to do a looper or something,
Yeah,
like
right,
a
right.
bass line down with that. So should we go up all the way? What's that sound like? And then, of course, we can pull octave 1 up. And so what we found, if we have octave 1 a little bit past noon and octave 2 maybe a little bit under noon, we really kind of like that. So then to make it even cooler, we could hold down the fast switch again and just move this anywhere. So as long as it's not back on 0, we should have added the dry signal back in.
Dearly beloved. Every time I hear that.
Which is really cool. Because it is like a polyoctave, right? You can play chords with it and stuff like that. So that's the drive. We have the octave in and out. We have the fast and the slow we've talked about. And of course you could speed the fast up. Like, let's take the octave off for a second, the drive off. If you just want to play a little bit and I'll move the fast around. But it's almost too much.
Yeah.
To get too high. And then the other thing we can do, we're going to plug this in. And down here on the floor, we just have a Moog expression pedal. And so...
He's going to express himself.
Yeah. That was really hard to do by hand.
I bet.
Because like, it has a nice taper with your foot, but with your hand, it doesn't work too well. So, so you have the expression, and that was a plug and play, right? We just plugged it in. That has not been the case with some that we've looked at.
Right.
Plugged it in, works. There's a stereo out on it. I think. Did we get everything?
Yes. Because you had the manual out. So, you know.
All right. So what do you want?
I don't know. It's weird. Put a little drive back in it, I guess.
We'll drive. So, do you want the octaves in there?
Yeah, because you can.
Would you like an expression pedal?
Yes, maybe I'll expression myself.
We only have one guitar right now, so the playing out is not going to be...
Yeah, no.
normal.
I didn't plan on playing out, so here we go.
But...
Yes.
So, we have... Big shout out to NUX for sending this out. And they did send us another little pedal to go with it that we'll get to at some point. But we did. We sent them an email, said we're doing the Leslie series, and we'd love to include their pedal, and they are one of the companies that was kind enough to send that to us. So we really appreciate that, and it is...
It's fun.
Yeah. And they're inexpensive.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Some of the Leslie pedals you're looking at...
3+.
Yeah, cost a lot of money.
Flirting with 4.
Yeah. So, and I think on this, like everyone we've looked at, there's been something that we've really liked. If it were up to me, my call this time, I think the octave section on it makes it really unique.
Yeah.
Are there other Leslies out there that are just looking at the Leslies where the Leslie part might sound better? Maybe.
And they got a usable drive section, according to us.
Right. So, because a lot of times the Leslie drives are a little bit different. They're trying to model more what the Leslie amp does. This sounds a little bit more like an overdrive.
Right.
With the volume and the level. So that drive section, the octaves, depending on what you want to use it for, I think that makes this a really kind of interesting pedal that you might want to add to the mix.
Yeah, I like it.
So, with that, there's a lot more Leslie pedals coming. So, and a lot of other stuff coming too. It's not just the Leslie show. That's one of our series.
It is.
So, if you want to see more of that, please subscribe. Stop over to Instagram and Facebook. And I think with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Please turn on your hymnals to number 437.
It's fantastic. It really does sound like an organ, almost like a pipe organ or something.
I haven't had a pedal make us laugh and smile quite like this in a while.
That's great.